Welcome to the Dr. Detective, a PhD true crime podcast. This is a show where we bring you critical assessment based on experience. I am the Dr. Detective, your host, Troy Looney. We're going to bring you the story of the murder of Dr. Kamisha Clark. This happened May 2nd of this year, roughly a Friday ago. This is brought to you by the podcast in collaboration with the STS Nation True Crime Talk channel. Thanks for the collaboration. This happened May 2nd in Inglewood, California. There was an active shooter call that took place. As a result, police responded to the location, discovered there were two victims, Dr. Clark being one of the victims. Another second victim was an aide. This happened inside the college, the Spartan College of Aeronautics and Technology. This actually happened in Dr. Clark's office. And there were other employees present, but apparently this was a targeted effort, a targeted shooting that took place at the time. So police arrived to the area. Both victims were transported to the hospital. They began the extensive search of the university college, inside, outside, all evidence, potential witnesses, people to be interviewed, any video surveillance, any kind of scene evidence to be preserved. Meanwhile, Dr. Clark and the other victim were rushed to the hospital. The shooter had not yet been identified. The shooter was on the run. Police searched for the suspect. They received a call from the family of the suspect saying he might be involved. So the description of the vehicle was put out. Within 2 to 3 hours later, the suspect's vehicle was stopped in a nearby adjacent part of town, Koreatown as it's called. Vehicle stopped, the BMW sedan, and suspects taken into custody at that time by police. An ID was obtained at that time. This is the Spartan College shooter. As he's arrested, other information, of course, is being gathered, other interviews and so forth. The suspect's identified as Jesse Figueroa, 40-year-old male of Monterey Park. He was later found roughly in the 1100 block of Berindo Street after officers spotted his vehicle. The terrible and tragic incident and heinous crime that took place was committed by Mr. Figueroa, and he was an employee or formerly employed by the Spartan College as a security guard. So the security guard is the one that should have been protecting the employees, protecting the Dean Clark, and the aide and other parties there. This is the act that was committed by Mr. Figueroa. So again, he had only worked there for about 2 months as reported. And we'll take a look at a short video about his arrest and some of the details that day that were uncovered.
Here is the shooting at Spartan College that injured 2 school employees. The suspected shooter, who officials say is a campus security guard, was booked today and is being held on $1 million bail. NBC4's Macy Jenkins is live in front of Spartan College in Inglewood with the very latest details. Macy.
Hi, Kathy. Well, Spartan College remains closed today after yesterday's shooting. 2 employees are still in the hospital after they were targeted by a campus security guard. 40-year-old Jesse Figueroa booked into jail early Saturday morning after allegedly shooting 2 women at Spartan College on Friday afternoon. The call came in just after 3:30 p.m., reporting 2 people with gunshot wounds. Less than 2 hours later, police tracked down Figueroa and arrested him in front of Berindo Middle School in the Pico Union District. News Trapper 4 was rolling when he was being detained. Police say he'd worked for the college for 5 years. Yesterday, I spoke with Jawad Alamad, an instructor who knows Figueroa.
And what's his typical demeanor?
To be honest with you, I don't find him the brightest person, to be honest with you. And I see that he has some issues,
Okay.
But, I'm not a psychiatrist to, identify what problem he has, but he had some problems in his life.
According to LA County Fire Department, both women were transported to Long Beach Memorial Hospital in critical condition. Inglewood Mayor James Butts told NBC4 one of the women is a dean of the college. He also says she was targeted and shot in the head execution style. The second woman, who a colleague identified as an admissions assistant, Mayor Butts says was an unintended target. Al-Ahmad says he spoke to both of them while celebrating a Staff Appreciation Day just minutes before the shooting.
What kind of roles did they play at the university? What did they do?
These are the sweetest women that we have. They're very helpful. They're always there when you need them. And they come and, to my class sometimes, give some instruction to the students. They're very active and just, have a good personality, really. I've never seen any bad thing from either one of them at all.
Bail for Figueroa is set at $1 million. He's scheduled to appear before a judge to be arraigned early Tuesday morning. Now, the school sent out a statement just this afternoon saying that he worked for a third-party security firm. That statement went on to say, "We are deeply saddened and upset by what transpired. Our thoughts are with the two staff members who are in medical care and their families during this time. Counseling services and support are being arranged for students and staff in the coming days." That's the very latest. Reporting live in Inglewood, Macy Jenkins, NBC4 News.
So again, I apologize for the sound. That's near the airport, but obviously reported a day after the shooting that took place, and for obvious reasons, noting that Mr. Figueroa was a security guard. Interesting part of this case, his family called 911 to give information and say, "We believe he may be involved." So if the family believed he was involved, what kind of details did they share? What kind of information did they talk about? They definitely gave his name to police. So that aided in the quick apprehension and the quick discovery of his vehicle. They also seized and recovered the weapon that was used allegedly inside of his vehicles in the back seat. So that also will be tested, and we'll talk about some deeper dive police are going to engage. So this is Dr. Kamisha Clark, the Dean of Spartan College of Aeronautics and Technology, also alumni of Clark Atlanta University, graduate where she earned her bachelor's, master's, and doctorate in education from the university. Recently celebrated for her accomplishments, also member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Very well liked, very well loved, very accomplished. As you said, as we heard them say, very sweet ladies, very unnecessary and unfortunate for this event. She was recently highlighted and spotlighted by Clark Atlanta University. Also, Dr. Clark celebrated and uplifted everyone, as stated by family and friends. She uplifted everybody fortunate enough to cross her path, and they're heartbroken, essentially, as you can imagine, family and or friends. Again, during her time at Clark Atlanta University, she earned a doctorate with a 3.9 GPA, right? Just speaking to her accomplishments and to her state of mind and the diligence and persistence, the hard work that she put in. And she landed her dream job far from her home in Atlanta with Spartan College. So this was her dream job. She was living her best life. And unfortunately, this tragic event took place. She was killed. This roughly happened again on the 2nd, but several days after. She fought for 3 days and unfortunately succumbed to her injuries, as the video stated. So again, the district attorney and the mayor's office talk about Figueroa has now been charged. Let's talk about the charges, essentially, that the DA mentioned. This is the district attorney of Los Angeles County, Nathan Hochman. He has charged Mr. Figueroa with 1 count of felony unaliving, 1 count of attempted unaliving for the second victim, 1 felony count of possession of a firearm with prior violent convictions, and 1 felony count of possession of a firearm by a felon with prior convictions. All separate felony charges, all carry their own essential sentencing or sentences. We'll see what happens as a result. Maybe there were statements made, interviews, so everything will factor in to this case. What police have to consider, they will have to consider a deeper dive into, first of all, who is Jesse Figueroa? We know he's a 40-year-old male, but who is he? What kind of lifestyle? So they're going to look at all the forensic elements. They're going to look at his devices. They're going to look at his family and friends, potentially his interview that they have with him. Again, we saw coworkers of the video there that talked about they felt he had some kind of mental health, or maybe he wasn't the brightest individual based on that person's statements, right? So was there any kind of diagnoses, right? So we're trying to determine a motive, or police are trying to determine what is the motive behind this tragic incident, behind this heinous crime. Also, there's going to be a deeper dive into forensic analysis of his lifestyle, his devices, his cell phone if he had one, email accounts, social media postings, all of his network essentially, past and present, and potential statements made to anyone, family, friends, and so forth. So the family knew something. They knew something more to make that call and say, we feel he's responsible. So upon them hearing about the shooting, what did they know? The question is, what did they readily know, or what were they made aware of maybe that day or prior to this taking place? So there's going to be weapons testing to match or determine if that weapon recovered is the actual weapon used. I believe that was reported. All this is an active collaboration taking place simultaneously, right? So again, what did he say? Did he make any statements? If so, we'll dial back to that interview, try to make a educated assessment of what he said, maybe his demeanor, if he did talk with police and detectives. So the DA issued a statement and basically is stern about their position. DA Hawkman said any student, faculty member, or employee should feel safe and secure in going to school. This horrific act of gun violence has shaken the community and Spartan College, and of course the entire community. We will file all appropriate gun enhancements charges, right, in this case, and send a clear message to criminals that violence will not be tolerated in Los Angeles County. So the security guard is charged with the murder and the attempt murder unaliving at this college and university. They're considering this workplace violence. So again, for the mayor to mention this was a targeted incident, this was a targeted act. This was targeted specifically for Dr. Clark. What is the reason or motive behind that? The video talked about Mr. Figueroa having a $1 million bail. Well, that's since been changed. It's been up to $5 million for his bail. Again, so police and prosecutors have a lot to consider, but they're talking about this being workplace violence. Some stats to go along to consider. Workplace violence. They're saying 1 out of 6 workplace deaths are from workplace violence and association. Again, so different numbers, different demographics and locations, potentially the studies that have taken place can articulate how that's defined, what that means, and how we can maybe better prepare for that. Some other stats that go along with these numbers here. They talk about a certain percentage of workers report not feeling safe in their place of work. We should all feel safe and secure, especially home, work, travel to and from, especially at work, since we spend the majority of our time there. We have active careers. We've engaged, we've committed to these corporations, to these employers. We should feel safe, and they should make sure we're safe. So the question is, were there other security guards present? What kind of staffing was there? There was reports of a meeting prior to the shooting. As the one coworker mentioned, just before the shooting took place, he spoke with these ladies. And again, other statistics talk about the workplace, preparation for the workplace, the number of incidents with active shooters or incidents and or casualties, and the ultimate thing, how do we prepare, or has there been some kind of plan of action or corporate preparation for these in terms of contingency plans? So the stats talk about, are these the type of incidents that we can afford to ignore? Of course not. Every threat we should consider credible. Were there threats made? We're not sure. That remains to be seen. Additional reports should come in as this case evolves, as they're able to share information they can share. We may learn some additional evidence, additional comments, additional base of knowledge of what took place or what happened. So again, there's roughly 2 million victims in the workplace or that succumb to workplace violence on a yearly basis. Could be a result of retaliation, could be non-compliance, could be some mental health factors that come into play with this. So mental health is a active component or can potentially be of any scenario, even sometimes just random incidents that take place. But if this was targeted, there's some kind of motive that should be hopefully identified, or the um, reason behind this, or maybe his state of mind at the time of what he was dealing with. I think one article mentioned he had a problem with something that the dean said or did. We'll dial back to the story again. So in terms of the family, they issued a statement, very heartbroken, but Dr. Clark's family said, "It is with profound sadness that we share that Dr. Kamisha Clark, Dr. Denise, Dr. Kamisha Denise Clark, let's say it properly, passed away Monday afternoon, surrounded by her family and friends, her loving family and friends." So this took place 3 days after where she passed away from her injuries. They said they are beyond devastated. Kamisha's life was taken from us far too soon in an act of senseless violence that no woman or person should ever have to endure. She was an amazing person who didn't deserve this. She was living her best life and doing the work that she loved. As stated, this was her dream job. They mentioned this was her dream job. She was living her dreams. And as a result, Clark Atlanta University has created a scholarship in the name of Dr. Clark. Scholarship is in the denomination of $10,000, and she's going to be honored on May 17th at the baccalaureate service. So again, send your condolences, send your prayers in the comments, right? Whether you like, share, or subscribe, send condolences, send prayers, right? Again, no one should have to be succumb to this kind of incident, this tragic event. The family has to deal with this. The unfortunate, prominent Dr. Clark was killed as a result of this. We want to send prayers out to the family. We want to send prayers out for Dr. Clark. And again, compassion goes a long way. We're going to stay tuned into this case, this situation, and the investigation as it evolves. We're either going to share additional information or find new information that points to a reason behind this heinous and tragic event. This is the Dr. Detective, a PhD true crime podcast. Please still share, like, and subscribe. As always, the Dr. Detective sends love, and I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you so much. Find us on YouTube or True Crime Talk channel, sponsored by STS Nation. Thank you.